Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning on this lovely Monday. And I'm here with Culture Casino. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. It started off as a pretty good day. We have some potentially sad news coming up for some of our friends in our fellowship, but for the most part, the day's gone very well, and business is going pretty well, and so I have no complaints. The entertainment news is always entertaining, so we have a lot to talk about, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about the news. And speaking of, I'm sure some of you must be wondering, where's Tom? Well, Tom is probably sleeping still because he's been pulling out all stops all weekend on our epic Masters of the Universe retrospective. And in my fair opinion, it's really the truly ultimate retrospective of that. It's nearly 50 minutes long. So just brace yourself for when that is released, which I estimate is going to be inside of the next 24 hours. But for now, it's the two of us here. So yeah, and we of course we have good selection of people joining us here today already. We have Ardan Blade, who says good morning all. We have Will Bloom is here. This is here. Daikaiju Gamer is here. Caris is here. Debut Martin is here. Natasha is here. Matthew W is here. Evan Gerhardt is here, and he even sent us a $10 super chat saying Star Trek Then, a group of highly skilled professionals solving problems as they travel through space. Star Trek Today, a collection of identities using a spaceship to escape their tragic pasts. So, yay, that's not an unfair description. I think there's more to it. Of course, nothing better to it, but yeah, that's a fairly decent description right there. Hypergiver 2 says for $5, looks like Warner needs to get more Lord of the Rings material in the works to keep the vultures at Amazon from getting their claws into it. And yes, indeed, that would be most helpful. For one, I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, but I wouldn't mind any more Lord of the Rings from Warner. I mean, this animation sounds exciting. I just wish it was live action. What do you feel, the Culture?
I think it would be wonderful, and of course, obviously, the War of Rohirrim sounds like it's going to be good. Although anime style animation, a lot of people like that. I do too. But no, I would love more live action Lord of the Rings. I would love a better version of The Hobbit than we got. I love this world, and there are a lot of stories to tell within it. And if you just reach into the Silmarillion, you've got plenty of material to pull from. So,
yeah, there should be plenty material there, and the more Warner decides to take advantage of, the better.
Oh yeah.
And then we also have STR Red Wolf, who says, "Hail Andre and Culture, great Scott! How many times are folks going to say that? Who will be first to get plastered in the drinking game today?" Yeah. Well, we shall see how much drinking there is today.
Yeah.
And Gundam Warrior 1 says for $5, Disney will cry, "Please come back, Star Wars fans, we got Doc Brown." And I'll look down and whisper, "No." Yeah, I'm afraid there's going to be quite a lot of that in different places. Darius Munchausen sent us a super sticker, which I wager is popcorn, and we appreciate that. Just keep the butter the hell away from me. And Brightest Day says, "Good morning, Midnighters." Yes, indeed. Good morning, one. Good morning, all.
Yeah.
And with that, no, we are not quite up to speed just yet. Dash Attack says for $5, "Thank you, Midnight's Edge crew, for reaming an entertainment-focused channel. Too many channels have given up, but rebellions are built on hope. Sonic 2, baby." Yes, I can't wait for Sonic 2. That looks so much fun.
It does. It looks like it's going to be entertaining. I do have some concerns over this, this potential TV spinoff. But I mean, the film so far, based on the clips that we've seen from the, teaser trailer, I think it's going to be wonderful. And I like the fact that Jim Carrey is leaning into his crazy. I mean, he's perfect for the Eggman,
Yeah, it's the best role of his in years.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of Mask. Remember, his performance in Mask was incredible way back.
Yeah,
then,
absolutely. And like, this is that level.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have thought about Jim Carrey for Dr. Robotnik, which is what the character will always be for me.
Yeah.
But still, man, he nailed it. He absolutely
Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah. And Stephen, aka Deleted Scenes, says, "Hail, Andre, Cultured Casino, Mods, and Chat. Indeed, hail one, hail all." And Trav101 wonders for £2. Andre, who wins in a fight between Crom and Odin? Oh, they're probably not going to fight at all. Crom is just going to sit mopey on his mountain, and then he's not a concern for Odin. So, yeah, there you have it.
That's probably true.
Yeah. And Tom is going to be here fairly soon, for those wondering that. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah, Tom is awake. He heard He-Man and he woke up. So he'll be here. But yeah, Cultured, until then, what's on your radar? Has happened so far this week?
Well, we just had the release of the Batman's third weekend numbers, and they'll be updated, of course, further into today. Globally, the film's just shy of 600 million, at 598 million globally. So the numbers here have been really good. I didn't think this film had a chance of clutching the $1 billion, box office. I may be proven wrong. But one market that opened today, and I don't have the story here to pull up, but that opened over the weekend was China. And China did not do Batman any favors. They made exactly $11.6 million in the first weekend's box office in China. That's really low. So, but the Batman did hit 300 plus million as of Sunday. Of course, this is, a typical deadline right through. They are essentially, you're talking about the film Jujutsu Kaisen which is doing pretty well with a $19 million weekend opening. So it's right up there with, even Demon Slayer to some extent. But Warner Brothers, the Batman is number one the third weekend at 36.8 million. It's down about 45% weekend over weekend, but its total is 300.1 million domestic, and that would be the North American market. So it's doing pretty well. It is well past what Superman's domestic box office, or it's projected to be well past Superman's projected box office with Superman versus Batman of 330 million. So I have a feeling that it's going to zoom past those in its fourth weekend. But it's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well, and I would say DC, despite 4 different Batmans this year, I think at least they understand where their bread is buttered. Whether or not you liked this movie or not, it is out there in the market doing very well.
Yeah, but you said that it wasn't really doing amazing in China. Why do you think that is?
Well, the several reasons. One, the Chinese box office is shifted primarily towards the state,
probably more towards national Chinese movies.
Yeah, nationalism. Yeah, they have nationalist films, and because of the way the social credit score is designed over there.
I was about to say, like, you're going to get a lower credit score if you go see too many American movies. Might question your intentions.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, you have to support the country. This is a big year in China, which we're about to wrap up here in the next few months. But for the little while longer, we are in the 100th year celebration of the current existence of China as it is now. And so, there have been a lot of nationalist pictures. The battle the Battle for Shaigun 2. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, but it's essentially the battle in Vietnam with the Chinese folks that were involved in that. That's what I believe that film is about, and that's the one that's a real winner. But looks like Tom has joined us. What's going on, Tom? Okay,
and Tom is here.
Fuck
In
Batman.
Tom's defense, Tom has been sleeping.
Little did we know that Robin was accurate when he said "fuck Batman."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and as like I said, I mean, it speaks a lot to the fact that I wouldn't count on the Chinese box office. In fact, I'm going to predict this, and this is going to sound wild, but I think global box office expectations will have to be reset much lower, over the course of the next year, maybe longer, based on some financial factors, as I'm sure you understand, Andre. So I think.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I don't think there's going to be American films that do very well going forward. I mean, can you think of any aside from maybe Avatar or like something?
I think Sonic is going to do well there.
Sonic, yeah, an animated film, yeah,
because it's animated and it has like this cutesy anime style. I think that one might do relatively well there.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, Marvel is a relatively popular thing there, but again, you have like this whole thing with the social credit score, and Marvel has been like losing steam and traction in China as they have everywhere else, but especially with Shang-Chi, that was not the winner in China, not at all.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like maybe Avatar does okay over there. And I think you're right on Sonic, but I don't see a lot of American films from American studios doing well on the Chinese market.
Yeah, I think the love affair is over.
Yeah,
both ways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this is the interesting thing. And if anybody's been paying attention, you guys called it almost a year and a half ago. We started to talk about, or you specifically started to talk about the fact that the shine was off of Hollywood as far as
China, the Paramount lost their Chinese money. I can't remember the other company that did too. So they were starting to pull out, and then we started seeing the articles and the signs that these companies weren't getting their money back.
Yeah, what I saw when I was like reading about it, I was like, okay, so you get 10% if you're not affiliated with the Chinese company, but if you do set up a Chinese branch in which you are the minority and you're the one taking the orders, then you get to increase your percentage to 25%. And then I'm like, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Is it really like 25% of something that is maybe 75% of the American box office? Is it really worth it? I mean, then we're talking about like the same kind of earnings that you get from like one or two major European territories. Is it worth it for another UK or another Germany?
They get bragging rights is about all they get out of it.
And that's all it was. It was like, and this is the thing that I always question when you have like this, made 100 million in China, made 400 million in China. Yeah, you get 25% of that, or you get 10%
if you're lucky.
Of that. Yeah, if you're lucky.
Because that was the other thing that was coming out, is that the Chinese government wasn't paying nobody. They weren't seeing the money they were supposed to get anyway.
So yeah, I never quite understood the fascination there and why that love thing started in the first place.
Yeah,
but they're waking up.
South Park predicted this shit, right?
Yeah. Many predicted this. Anyone that wasn't like blindly buying into certain narratives about who is good and who is bad should have seen this coming. And you had plenty of people warning. So like, I get so annoyed whenever someone says, no one could have foreseen this. Actually, plenty of people did foresee this. You just ignored them or ridiculed them.
Well, I called them conspiracy theorists, I think.
Exactly. That's it. It's funny how many such conspiracies have come true the last couple of years.
Well, what's that meme, Tom? I think the meme right now is this month's conspiracy theory is next month's news.
Pretty much.
It's like,
or what we can't say this month, we can say next month.
Yeah, which is insane.
Or what we get in trouble for this month will be the truth next month. That's for sure.
It's bananas. But yeah, I actually pulled the story from Variety on this paltry showing that the Batman had in
Yeah, it's doing all right. It's not going to hit that $1 billion mark like you were saying. It's got less than a month before it hits HBO Max. So
that's true. Like you said, it's still doing better than but the weekend to weekend fall off of 45% after a 50% fall off, in weekend two. I don't see it having the legs of Spider-Man. Of course, none of us saw that coming.
Spider-Man hits home video tomorrow.
Does it really? Oh, got to get my physical copy.
So does The Godfather.
Oh, that I knew.
Which drives me insane because how the hell? I seen all these people reviewing it already. It's like, I didn't get a copy.
Tom, I'm sorry.
You should be. It's your fault, probably.
Probably. Yeah. But hey, I mean, who doesn't love this Batman? Well, the answer is China. Or China. But yeah, I don't predict.
Depending on who you ask, quite a few don't love this Batman.
Here, I got a poll here. It says, I actually got it right here. Hang on.
Ooh.
This is how people feel about the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. I know it's really small, but it says, is Robert Pattinson too thin to play Batman? Over 2,000 fans voted. 71% said yes. So clearly, Pattinson is not selling the audience like they think he is. But to all you Pattinson fans out there, I'm sorry I picked on him. I didn't really pick on him. I'm just telling you the truth.
Does that coat look like it fits?
No, it looks like 2 sizes too small to try and make him look bigger.
This is weird.
Just like his shirt.
It also makes him look like someone who doesn't know how to wear a suit.
Yeah.
Looks like he's wearing his mom's coat.
It should be.
Which is kind of unforgivable for someone who is so filthy rich and who has a butler.
It should be bespoke. I don't know.
Because I guess that he wants to come across as someone that is like aloof and everything like that, but he comes across as someone who just doesn't know how to wear a suit.
Look, I'm glad people enjoyed the film, but even this picture makes me hear Nirvana. Turn it off.
Okay, I'll turn it off.
Well, come as you are, I guess.
No, thank you.
Wow.
If I hear one song off of Nevermind in the next 5 years, it's too soon. I mean, I own a couple of I'll be surprised if I own more than Nevermind and In Utero, but like to me, Nirvana they had their moment in the sun. They don't belong in Batman.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty weird.
You know what I said also? Remember when Batman actually used to have, pop soundtracks? I remember Batman Forever and Batman and Robin being two of the best soundtracks of the 90s.
Well, I mean, we had
not to mention Prince in '89. Well, that's what I said.
Yeah. I'm gonna say you had Prince, and you
got Susie singing one of the best non Oingo Boingo Danny Elfman songs in Batman Returns.
Yeah,
with Face to Face. Great fucking tune, but not like this Kurt Cobain shit. I'm sorry, I get those people who love him, but yeah, I got burnt out of him way back when.
It's crazy.
I've told this story before, so I'm not going to drag it out, but yeah. Yeah, not to mention the score I didn't think was all that great. I get it why people were, enthralled by it, because it's actually music. That's what happens when you hear music.
Yeah. Well,
even though it's a quarter of the Imperial March, but yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't Hans Zimmer, let's say.
Somebody went and did a remix, Andre, already.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not surprised.
Didn't take long. But no, I mean, I'm glad to see the movie's doing well, at least for the box office, at least for the theaters. It goes to show what we've been saying is you put something in the theaters, people will go see it that they want to see. Look what happened with Spider-Man and now with Batman. Scream had a little moment in the sun. I think Sonic might be one of the next ones to have. I think Sonic 2 is going to do better than the first film. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think so. I think it's going to have an easier run at the theater. You won't have a lot of overly concerned parents. You're going to see a lot more families out there. There haven't. Name me a family film that has been that crosses that bridge like the first Sonic film did.
Well, we also have a book in here, right? Because that was the last big movie before the end of the world.
Yeah, before the dark times.
Before the Empire.
The Dark Times actually kind of had already started. We just didn't feel it.
Yeah, but I mean, the big thing with that movie was it did well, but the question everybody had on their mind is how much better could it have done had it had a normal, because that everything got shut down right in the midst of that movie's run.
Yeah.
And they tried to say, oh, well, Birds of Prey would have done better, but it's like, no, bullshit. Like, that movie was done.
I mean, that was the first movie. They really tried to come with the excuse that, no, it's a pandemic. No, actually, it just sucked. It had no excuse for how it opened in the US.
Sonic, on the other hand, I can believe that movie would have made another $100 million.
But we shall see now. And
I think so, yeah.
I'm actually more excited for Sonic 2 than I am for many Marvel things. Sappy as it may sound.
I'll say the second one looks better than the first one, honestly. I mean, you remember when the first one came out, like, I kind of had zero kind of interest or hate or whatever for it. I was like,
and me too. Like, I wasn't excited. It was like a kid's movie, not for me, but lo and behold, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I had to say it was one of the better films the last few years. It felt like a 90s movie, especially coming off of Venom, which also had that 90s vibe to it.
That felt very 90s.
Of course, it was a script from the 90s, just polished a little bit.
Yeah, but I liked it, and I know there was a lot of
surprised if it was the same with Sonic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and they went out of their way to make a really quality film with Sonic. And
as we learned, they never let a good idea go to waste in Hollywood. As our upcoming He-Man retrospective.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have some brand new things that no one before has ever disclosed about.
And we're also dispelling a lot of classic stories that were told about the film. Because I posted late last night when I finished it. Like, this has got to be A, the most extensive video we've ever put out, and B, this is there. I challenge anybody to find me anywhere that has a more extensive making of the movie, because it just isn't there. There's no documentaries really about it. Even in the Power Grayskull documentary, they spend 5-10 minutes on the movie, if that.
Exactly, like the Power of the Grayskull documentary, by Randall Lobb. That is the definitive franchise overall documentary on it. But for the movie itself, I submit that the one that we're about to release is the most extensive anywhere.
Yeah, like I said, I challenge anybody to find us anywhere that has more info or who has done a more extensive breakdown of behind the scenes of the movie. And like I said, dispelling rumors at the same time and bringing new information to the table that's never been out there. So I can stand behind this one. I hope you guys enjoy it quite a bit. But we also have another video dropping soon that we might get into the news here just near the end of the day today, because I think that video is going to drop today, right?
You mean the one that dropped a few hours ago?
Oh, it did already?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then let's talk about that, unless you want to talk about Christopher Lloyd, because...
Well, let's get into Christopher Lloyd.
Let's do Christopher Lloyd first? All right. Because that's kind of cool story. Yeah, great to hear Christopher Lloyd's involved with something. I'm sure it's probably just going to be a voice. What do you guys think?
He may be on camera.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him. I'm not saying no, but I mean,
he could be an eccentric character, right? Like
he's not the youngest guy in the world.
Like the lady with the poofy curly hair that is,
I mean, he did really well in that, was it Nobody? And he was in Shatner's recent film too, which, he looked all right in that. I mean, but I don't know.
I think he's going to be an on-screen character. I really do.
Yeah, I would be inclined to believe that. I mean, you wouldn't get him just for a voice role. What would be the point of that? If you're going to get him, you're going to get him proper.
Here's my big question is why are they releasing this info now? Are we going to get a trailer pretty soon? Because usually they don't release this kind of info unless something's going to get out there, or they know that something's going to be coming.
Well, there's a lot of somethings that have been getting
unless he's such a minimal character that they're just using it to try and generate interest, which that happens too. But Andre, put your journalistic cap on, and what do you think this news signifies for Star Wars?
It's difficult to say, really, but I think it's possibly to counter other bad news, like for instance that hotel that keeps on flopping and failing, and can't fill up anything in a very public way. It could be a way to get some positive press on that. It could be to distract from the whole thing involving Chapek last week. It could be from this raid that they had going in the southern states last week, in which 4 Disney employees were also apprehended, suspected for various trafficking things. Like, these weren't like major executives or anything like that. Still, it's been plenty bad news for Disney, and something like this would be like a good way to change the news cycle a little bit. That's one of the things that I'm thinking, but I'm sure you must have thought about something else, because when you asked me that, I know that you want me to go somewhere, and I don't always go to the same place where you
The
want
only
me
thing
to go.
I could think of is either A, they're just getting to filming now, which means we're not seeing this show until next summer. Otherwise, they're just finishing up, and they're going to drop a trailer, and he's in the trailer, and they just wanted to put it out there to have some news to stir up some
But
interest.
it's supposedly still shooting.
That's what I'm saying. So I have no idea, unless it just happened to get out. I mean, it could just been happenstance that somebody saw Christopher Lloyd coming into the set, and somebody asked the right person. I have no idea.
It could be that they suspect it's going to leak, and they want to get ahead.
That's what I'm saying. It could be one of those three
very
things.
possible. Yeah.
What do you guys think of this?
What the hell is that supposed to be? That's my first question.
I want you to figure it out.
It's Star Wars?
Oh, wow. I give Andre points. How the fuck did you figure that one out? This is the new Dr. Aphra comic book.
Oh, okay. Lord. Really?
Yeah. It's like, how is that Star Wars?
Dr. Aphra actually started out really good in the comics. Like, the first run that I have read, that was actually really cool. But what happens with it since, I can't really say, but I don't think it's been anything too amazing from what I understand. Like,
no, she said this to me, and she's like, does this even look like Star Wars 2.6 did? And I'm like, no. This looks like one of those crappy DC and Marvel comics that nobody buys.
Well, the art isn't as terrible as normal.
6 has an observation, or maybe she's positing something here. Says his name was on the call sheet, so that was probably leaked, and the trades are running with it because Star Wars is in the headline and drives clicks. I don't know if that's true, but if that's the case, that makes sense as well.
That makes a lot of sense.
It certainly was true at one point. I don't know how true it is anymore, but it was very true. I guess it's still true to a certain extent, just not to the extent that it once was.
Indeed. Let's see what the chat's saying here. Thornton Wagger says China wants the Snyderverse. Reeves snubbed Miller.
There are actually many who wants the Snyderverse, and
I don't know, dude. Was China really that interested in this? I mean,
I don't know. I do not know that the Chinese are going to go on the barricades and demonstrate for the Snyderverse or anything like that. I don't think it's that big a thing there. But I do think that the Snyder Cut certainly did better in the various streaming services there than many other comparable things. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it did fairly well. Now, to extrapolate from there that China wants Snyderverse, that may be a bit of a stretch, but Snyder Cut did really good there. Reeves snubbed Miller. Yeah, maybe. I don't know the full
meaning that Matt Reeves' Batman doesn't.
Oh, right.
Doesn't support the Snyderverse, or however you want to look at it. Like, yeah, no. As far as him snubbing him.
Well, actually, that's not really Matt Reeves' fault. The one you have to blame for that are the DC executives during the Johnson Berg regime, because they were the ones that were instructed to get the hell away from the Snyderverse. They were the ones who gave Ben Affleck living hell to the point that he quit, which they were very happy with, because they wanted to go a different direction anyway. They had like this Batman Year 2 spec script that they wanted to do, that Affleck was obviously too old to do. This is what they gave to Matt Reeves. So Reeves, he was just a director that came in.
You did a really great.
That you asked him.
you did a really great breakdown of what probably happened behind the scenes. Or like, I know you had some info, and then, but basically, yeah, like they were going to do the Batman with Affleck, and then it was clear that once Matt Reeves came in and was involved, that he did not want to do that.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if you, I don't remember if you said this in the video or not, but I'm trying to remember the timing of it, but I don't think it was much longer after JJ was brought in with his big deal that all went down.
This was about the same time.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think
this
there's
is not mentioned in the video. I wish I'd remembered it for then, but obviously, like this guy, this is something that is mentioned there. The Matt Reeves, he's obviously one of JJ boys, and JJ's going to push his weight behind him.
And of all the JJ boys, he's the one that is the easiest to find pictures with JJ. So that tells me he's one of the more closer ones with him.
Yeah.
So, okay, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are now going to see 4 different Batmen in 1 year.
Where do you get the fourth?
No, actually, no, because the Flash has been delayed. It's now coming in the summer of 2023. Yeah.
But technically, we have Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and Pattinson. Who's the fourth?
Yeah, who's the fourth?
Okay, so 3.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're counting Kevin Conroy, because he technically, I think, is coming back for that Batman animated revival, but I don't know if we're going to see that in the next 2 years.
Yeah, but anyway, up until a few weeks ago, before David Zaslav, you would have been right. We would have gotten 3 Batman in the same calendar year. Now, with all DC movies being pushed back, which tells me that Zaslav is ordering some restructuring. That could very well be restructuring that is favorable for those that want the Snyderverse to have a future. What we have heard from we heard Mike Sutton tell us this ages ago, that there were multiple cuts of the Flash, and Ben Affleck's Batman would be eliminated from existence in one cut, but they also filmed an ending in which he lived. And Sutton said to us ages ago, that's the one that they're going with, because the Snyderverse is not over.
Yeah,
and they want to keep the door open in case they can do something with Affleck later on. And now you have other people saying the same thing. So
they're going to have to bring a truckload of money and stuff to Affleck's house, because I don't think he's going to do it.
If they let him do his own thing.
Not only that, Culture, I think his contract. I don't think they have any more movies on his contract.
No, his contract is done with the Flash.
That's what I'm saying.
Like one more appearance as Batman, and that was the Flash.
Let's just say I heard some things that kind of support that whole thing, that he's not coming back.
So you don't think they could back up a Brinks truck to his door?
They might, but he is at this point right now, and everything I've heard supports what he put out there in the press, which, I mean, he said it himself, so it's not like it's hearsay or anything like that. But even people like Kevin Smith, who know him well enough, are supporting it. And it kind of goes along with what I heard. And that is that he's just done with the bullshit. Like, all that stuff drove him to drinking and got between his marriage and all this other shit. So
if that would be the Johnsonburg regime.
Exactly. Yes.
The whole thing here with the Matt Reeves movie. Matt Reeves wasn't responsible of it, but he was part of it. So this is part of the thing that destroyed his marriage. This is why I always say that the history behind this movie is ugly. This is why I always said that I have always had a certain bias against this movie, and that is because of the ugly history behind it, to the point where it ruined Affleck's marriage and caused him to start drinking again. Now, obviously, it wasn't the only thing.
Well, his wife actually recently, or his ex, I should say, wife, recently supported a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because she said he didn't start cheating on until after they were split up, that he had started choosing to do this other stuff more so, and then spend time with his family, which got in the way. And it was supposed to be this 50-50 deal they were supposed to do, and it didn't work out that way. Batman, he made a choice. It was either Batman or his family, and he chose Batman, and it fell apart. So it's kind of what it's not. What kind of what I took away from the interview.
And what I thought was like so ugly is like, here he sacrificed actually this much for Batman, and then it was a change in management, and the new management kicked him to the curb.
Wow.
Because he was supposed to facilitate to where it was supposed to be he was supposed to get a movie, she was supposed to get a movie. He was supposed to get a movie, she was supposed to get a movie. Well, when he signed on for Batman, that was like 5 solid years of bullshit.
Wow. See, all this amazing insider knowledge. So, but
we got to remember he signed on in 2013. That movie didn't come out until 2015, right?
yeah, man, wow.
Or was it 16? I'm trying to remember now.
Why are
16? It was supposed to come in 15. It came in 16.
That's right. I couldn't remember how many times. I'm trying to remember because originally Man of Steel was supposed to be out in 2013 and it didn't come out until 14. Right?
Yeah, and
no,
BVS,
that came out in 13.
Did it? But that got delayed as well. I know
it was supposed to come in 12.
BVS took forever. Didn't make enough money. I mean, it's just anyway. Unfortunately, I have to slide out, gentlemen. I hate to leave early, but yeah, I apologize.
You didn't quit it before a lady's done. I see how you are.
Hey, I have other commitments and some work stuff that has piled up, but I had a great time. I wish I could have stayed, but
anyway, thank you, my friend, for joining us here today. It's always a pleasure, especially when Tom is crashing, because I give him just way too much to do, so he can never sleep. And I really appreciate it.
I always feel privileged to be here, Andre, and I love hanging out. And I wish I could go longer. Again, had I not made another commitment, and I don't have work crushing me right now. But thank you all. Everybody have an incredible morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thanks for being here, and check out my channel. I dropped a weird AI in entertainment and news video today, so check that one out. It's worth your time.
Yeah, do check it out. Of course, the link, as always, to Culture Casino is in the description.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one. Bye.
Thank you.
Did you even send Mikey and the boys the link?
Yeah, I think I did. Didn't I?
Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to. I don't think you did.
Oh. Okay.
I was gonna say I don't see a. I'm gonna send them the link. So
yeah, do that.
Yeah. In the meantime, why don't you grab a couple of super chats and then we'll get into
absolutely.
the other news.
So yeah, Thornton Wanger, China absolutely snubbed everyone and everything. Then Dash Attack says for $5, I won't watch Jujutsu Kaisen dubbed until Sony completely dismantles Funimation into Crunchyroll and cleanse it of bad actors. And I prefer dub anime. Well, stand by your connections, and I hope that you get your wish. Half of that was Latin to me. I understand that there was like some anime stuff in there.
I was going to say, this is what I can add to this. I know a lot of anime fans are not fans of dubs. So I think I get where you're coming from there. Because I don't think this is the individual that's in trouble right now. So this is a show, I'm assuming, because that's how.
Yeah, that
I know very little about anime.
Jujutsu Kaisen, the way that Dash Attack phrases it, I won't watch. Well, that to me tells me it must be a show.
That's what I'm thinking too. So that's how this is why we need Mikey. He's starting to learn anime.
Yeah, we really need someone who can add into that, because we're so boomers when it comes to that.
And this I know. This is something I know just from being a Godzilla fan and a fan of kung fu films, or however you want to put it. I know people hate it when you call it that sometimes. Martial arts films, is that better? I think that's the new.
Actually, in the European countries, in Southern Europe, where they do dubbing to this day, the reason that they started dubbing in the first place is because at the time when they did, they were dictatorships. And so the authorities needed to make sure that there were no subversive messages getting through. So they had to have control over the messaging, which is why every foreign series was dubbed. Of course, then those dictatorships in Spain and stuff like that eventually fell. But by then, the populace had gotten used to dubbing and wanted it continued.
Yeah, I mean, I understand in some cases it was to help.
As for me, just so it's clear, I'm from Northern Europe. That was always subtitle land.
Which helped you learn English, so there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. He-Man was my first English teacher.
Is that why you always call me a bumbling boob?
Yeah, that's where I learned it.
Morons! I'm surrounded by morons! I bet you that's how I felt being surrounded by Canon, too. He's like, these bumbling boobs will fuck this up, too.
Yeah, I'm sure Skeletor can empathize with...
That's all I can think about is that damn He-Man. Like, that's all I've been doing for the last 5 days straight. And then I can't believe I pulled that last one out of my ass. And you dropped that this morning. I didn't get an alert for that, by the way.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, Everyone, please smash that like and share the stream because YouTube is doing something weird these days.
Yeah.
It has to do with the events going on in Ukraine. They're clamping down on disinformation or something. And as usual, we and everyone else in our sphere of the internet get caught in the crossfire. So that means plenty people get unsubscribed without their consent. Notifications aren't sent out, that kind of stuff. So everyone, please smash that like, help share the stream, because half of the audience that would usually be here, they're not getting notified that we're live. Sadly as it may sound, but that's how it is. And everyone,
I'm a member, and
the video we dropped.
And I watch all our videos multiple times, usually to go into the comments and all that kind of business. So when I don't get an alert, that tells me that their bullshit system ain't working. And we've had lately. So please, if you guys have been
actually, or worse, it is working. It's just working to our detriment.
Okay, here's another thing, guys, that we've noticed. This is becoming a trend. So please do this if you have this happen to you. If you are a channel member of either one of the channels and you get unsubscribed and your membership gets canceled, please take whatever screenshots you can without doxing yourself and post them and tag us and YouTube on Twitter so that we can start getting this out there. Because I have a feeling we're not the only ones, clearly. Because I'm sure some of the other channels will have the same problem if they actually start looking into it. Because we've had a lot of people in our Facebook group and other places come to me and let me know that they have been unsubscribed and they were members until they were unsubscribed. It's even happened to people like Mikey and stuff like that. So pay attention, kids. If this happens to you, please feel free to tag us in it so we can get YouTube's attention, so we can ask what is this deal with this? Because honestly, look, I can understand a bot getting rid of dead subs, somebody that's not watching something. But if you're somebody who's subscribed to a channel and actually is a member, don't you think the system should be able to tell that that person is clearly a real person? That just doesn't make any sense.
World, but again, it's not made for that, and it has another goal. And if someone like us or our viewers are caught in the crossfire, well, I'm surprised that the overlords of this platform are very happy to pay.
Yeah, and I don't know when I sleep, to be honest with you, RJ. I wish I knew.
I wish I knew. Like whenever I tell you that you need to do this right now, and you always respond. So yeah.
This says you could do like Netflix, Arcane, and ditch all of the Hollywood production companies and just make the show themselves. Well, there is this option for some people if they have the money and the support to do so without a Hollywood production company involved. Oh, we had the guests pop in, and then they must have had a mic problem. They'll pop back in, I'm sure. What do you think, Andre, on this part? I mean, it's possible, but the money and the distribution factor, I still think, is a problem. Not everything's in Arcane
there as well. So, and especially in that case, there you have like the big traditional companies there, and they are struggling. So there's something of a reset going on there. So it'll be interesting to see how that all comes out.
Indeed. So yeah, it's a possibility. It's things that some companies might be able to do. It'll be interesting to see with what'll happen when like Apple and a few other places start getting involved in some of this stuff, seeing how they allow the entertainment to thrive and survive or die on the vine. But we have a guest in the background.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know if this individual's been on the main channel yet or not. I think maybe once for a special stream. But if not, let's formally welcome Nick Weiser. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, that is. A good buddy of mine. How you doing? Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Tom, Andre, guys. Yeah, I know I was on the Mexican Iron Man birthday special, which was fun, by the way, and pleasure to be on here in the morning. I'm always listening to you guys at work in the morning, so it's nice to be on a day where I'm off. I'm like, hey, here I'm on the show with you. I'm always listening to you guys at work, so it's perfect. What's going on here? So what's going on here? I listened a little bit. You guys were talking about Batman a little bit, which, by the way, I saw a few days ago. And boy, Tom, I mean, if you want me to sound off, I gladly will. But, dude, I did not like it.
Really?
I did
You should
not.
check out my review. That'd be like a gathering place for those who don't like it. Because I feel I enunciate for most why you didn't like it. And of course, for those that did like it, and judging by the box office, that is most people,
Oh,
which is
yes.
fine. Which is
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
understand why, because even to me, it was like a 10 out of 10 movie until a certain point. And then it became The Force Awakens. I think The Force Awakens is a really good comparison because it's more insidious in its messaging. And very few people caught on to the rot already in The Force Awakens. Most people dug that. But
no, you're right.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Like, there are aspects of it I did like. Like, I liked the Batman Gordon, like, pairing up. I thought it was cool to have, like, the detective be a detective. But the second half, like, it went so far off the rails, and not just by I'm not even just talking about the story, but some of the characterizations drove me nuts. Especially, like, I mean, Tom's been on a few panels, but he knows I come from the comic book end, much like our buddy Clobbering times, and I did not like the portrayal of the Waynes, Alfred later on. It felt very character assassination esque for me, and Riddler felt like something I saw rather than the Riddler. I mean, yeah, he had riddles, but the personality was straight out of like freaking one of those like torture porn movies. Like, that's what I got from watching that. And Pattinson wasn't bad as Batman, but he was basically Batman the entire movie, like even outside of his suit. And Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a disguise, and when he's Bruce Wayne, he didn't feel like the disguise. He just felt like Batman out of the suit. So I was like, it's hard to sell me on that. And I like the suit. But man, Catwoman's suit and Riddler's suit, ooh, boy, those are hard to look at. Like, really hard. I was like, it reminded me of Deadpool and X-Men Origins Wolverine bad. I was like, holy crap, this is very scary to look at. No, it was like, seriously, like there's this historical it's like a rave industrial club that comes by in Chicago called The Exit. It's been there for like 50 years. A lot of legendary names have been there. And they had this night called Bondage Night. It looked like Riddler came straight out of Bondage Night from that whole spiel. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Too bad you didn't enjoy it. But yeah, beyond just the substandards aspects that you kind of brought up to me, at least that way I felt about them, there was that woke business that just really kept poking at me and poking at me and poking at me. And the more I see people just kind of overlook it and ignore it because they just enjoyed what they saw as far as like the other aspect. That's what reminds me of Mad Max Fury Road, where I feel like people are just ignoring the stuff that's actually there right in front of your face because they enjoyed the film and they're just ignoring it on purpose, which as long as people would admit, I'd be fine with. My problem is people aren't admitting it. And that's where, like, I feel like it's more of a salacious woke, right? Like, 'cause it's not like in our face. It's not like they're wearing it right out there. Like, because really, if you think about it, Zoe Kravitz is the only one out there really kind of pushing any woke narrative.
Yeah, definitely. No,
But
you're right.
I mean, yeah, like there's a lot of people who are just I really get flipped out when somebody's like, oh, it's just a line. That bothers me.
No, Tom, I actually wholeheartedly agree with you on that because I had a conversation with someone who I know fairly well about it, and they use the same argument that hits one line. I'm like, well, that's a problem. When you accept one line, then they slowly inject more, and that by that point you accept it. Like, by even if it's unintentional, you eventually accept it because it's just a little bit here, a little bit there. It's all like little, they gotta plant their seeds and let the plants blossom eventually. That's how they get you to eventually accept this. They're not just going to go full blown here. And that's what they did. That's what they're planting the seeds for, in my opinion. I think that's what they're onto, is because I think this will lead to a trilogy. It will, because I'm not going to be one of those guys who, just because I'm not a fan of it, I'm going to, not admit that the movie's not doing well. It's doing gangbusters, but I think the third movie, whenever it comes out, that will be the full woke, or the full intercession, the full PC, the full whatever you want to call it, all of the above, because they are all different things. So some people seem to mistake all of the above.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let's grab some more of these super chats because then we got a couple more headlines to get through and then we're done for the day. Mondolvin Allen is here and says, hello, Midnight's Edge and Culture. Wanted to say I loved the Red Sonja video. Really hoping to see it move past pre-production and into shooting. Yeah, for those who haven't seen it yet, there's been some changes behind the scenes on Red Sonja, which could be for the better. Isn't that right, Andre?
That is indeed right. I'm very happy about the changes. They ditched the writer, they ditched the director, and when they did that, the star walked with them, which is fine because the three of them were one package solution. It's a package that I don't think would have been very good for either Red Sonja or for the genre of sword and sorcery. And they replaced all of them with writer and director MJ Bassett, which I think is a huge, huge step in the right direction. So I couldn't be happier about that.
You know, it's funny, the whole sword and sorcerer thing, because remember the last year or so I've been beating that drum that I feel like that's going to be the next thing, you know. And there was an article recently that kind of pointed out in so many ways that, you know, Elden Ring's doing great. Why is all this other shit not? Well, basically the answer is because it's overly woke and people don't want to watch it.
Right. Send me that article. That's
I have to see if I can find it again. Yeah, I can't remember, but like I don't remember if the article necessarily said that, but that was my answer to it. It's like, well, duh. It's a pretty easy answer, kids. And that's why people. It was like something about why are people embracing Elden Ring but rejecting Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time.
There's some people that don't understand that, right? I was like, how can this be?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'll see if I can find that for you later on. But yeah,
I need to play it.
Glad you enjoyed the Red Sonja video, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the Amazon Lord of the Rings video that we dropped this morning, because I'm sure if I didn't get an alert, a lot of other people didn't either. So do check that out, guys. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But Primer says, I think the Christopher Lloyd casting is nothing but a menial publicity stunt. Christopher will appear in anything as long as he gets a check for it. I mean, he appeared in freaking Baby Geniuses, for fuck's sake. You're not wrong.
Yeah, that could be true. But here's the thing. Plenty actors can have...
As long as the check clears, I'll pay.
Exactly. Same thing with like Lance Henriksen. If you wanted Lance Henriksen and you
I love listening to him talk about his classic roles.
You could get Lance Henriksen. That doesn't mean that he's any less awesome.
They're asking him, like, do you remember this? He's like, I don't fucking remember any of that shit. I just got paid and I showed up, I did my job, and I left. It's like...
There's like even Klaus Kinski. He's like one of, like, for those that are familiar with Klaus Kinski, he was a crazy German actor. And when I mean crazy, as in a malignant narcissist bordering on psychopath. But he was also a great actor, and he had no pretensions. What he said is that an actor is no different from a prostitute. You pay us, we do our job, and we leave. And I go with the highest paying customer. So he skipped out on Indiana Jones because some Italian schlock paid better.
Yeah,
Still, that doesn't mean that he's not a great actor.
Right?
That doesn't mean that he wouldn't have been a steal for Star Wars if they could get him.
Yeah, what I said was he kind of got to that point where nobody would really work with him anyway, though, right?
Yeah, that too.
So yeah. But thank you for that, Primer. And then we have Mega Wing Zero here. Oh, I love that icon. Says, I feel like the Batman was a mixed bag. I have a feeling all the Catwoman stuff was a studio. I think it means mandate. The main plot comes to a stop when we can have Catwoman's pointless subplot. The main plot is good and the setting. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be careful how I say this, but Catwoman is clearly representing a certain group of people. Yep. Batman's clearly representing a certain group of people, and Riddler is representing a certain group of people. And he even went out and admitted the group of people that he's kind of representing.
Who, Matt Reeves? Did Matt Reeves do that?
Paul Dano did. He was an incel for weeks, and he studied all that shit to play the Riddler. Yeah,
I freaking knew it. Oh my god!
I told everybody, I'm like, it's there. It's subtly there. Let's just say
this movie is insidious. That's the best word I can say.
I'm gonna say let's just say that Batman / Bruce Wayne is Likes
He's
little
the white
ant.
guilt guy. He was the white. No, he was because I
Yeah.
mean,
He's a good ally.
Alan, he's the white ally, and I mean, obviously we all know what happened with Ryan Kindle's clip that got out. But like my girlfriend and she pointed out too, she's a why is it that every person who's white in the movie is like an absolutely terrible person except Batman? It's really weird. Even she knows that with the Waynes, and she's a normie with Batman. She's like, I thought the Waynes were these like outgoing philanthropists who did everything to help people. What's with all of a sudden hiding things and work with the mafia and having mental issues? I'm like, this is this movie. This is not what you historically know Batman for. I had to explain that to her because even she caught on to that, remembering from previous, Batman movies and cartoons. So like even some normies are catching on to that, thankfully.
No, in their eyes, and this is coming from the Matt Reeves side of things, I don't think it has much to do with the studio because we know the type of people that Matt Reeves works with. I feel like he's clearly trying to signify that because I see some people are misunderstanding what I'm saying in the chat. So here, basically, I'm going to say it again as best I can. Batman Bruce Wayne's an ally to these people. And the cops and other people turned a blind eye to what he does because his vengeance is for their further development in the city of bringing it, making it, what's the words I'm looking for? Building back better, maybe? No, something like that. And then you have Catwoman, who makes her role pretty goddamn clear. And as I just pointed out, the Riddler he's a proud person, but he's an incel, let's say.
Yep.
Does that make sense now, kids, without me just spelling it out for YouTube to come in together?
We spelled it out a little bit too much. Maybe
probably
the algorithm has it so hard in for us right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, once I saw that he was talking about like the community and how no one's now ever alone, and I'm like, oh, I see what they're going for here.
And you got the mayor hitting on the other point exactly by telling him to do better.
Yeah, you got that. Of course, we also had the Falcon saying to do better. That we also had the incel moment in the second to last episode of season 2 of The Boys. This is their trope now for setting up characters or villains or some little like subplot saying it must be like some weird mandate. I mean, or maybe it's not even a mandate, it's just something that people who work in Hollywood feel like they need to add to make a part of the story. They can't help but make a story without attaching this or privilege-based lines. I feel like they get off on it.
Well, it's certainly the bad robot way.
Yes, indeed. Trav 101 says, "Will the Batman pass BBS, which is 876 million?"
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's getting there because it's 300 domestically. What's it done outside? I think it's done more than that outside the US.
Let me take a look.
I think right now it's at I think it's close to 700 alone right now.
598 worldwide currently.
Okay, so a little less than I thought.
Yeah, actually, I actually underestimated. So right now it stands at estimately because the accurate totals come out later today. Usually do around 5 on Mondays. 300 million domestically and right under 300 internationally. So it's kind of neck and neck.
So it slowed down internationally, actually.
Yeah,
it has slowed down. It has slowed down.
It started out strong internationally. Strong. It was huge internationally.
So honestly, considering there's less than a month before this hits HBO Max, that's a tall order. I wish Culture or Valiant were here because they might be able to help me with this math because math is racist. But I think that at this point right now, unless it has a couple of really big weekends here coming up, which are not likely, I don't know if the Batman is going to surpass BBS.
It might be a tall order.
Domestically, it will. Worldwide, I know now that I'm looking at these numbers, it definitely kind of changed my mind a little bit. Maybe it won't worldwide. It will domestically because don't forget back in 2016 that opened up huge. By how much?
By how much do you think it will exceed?
But it will exceed domestically by, I'd say, see, the final toll was in the 330s domestically. I think The Batman will hit but when it's all said and done, I'd say maybe under 400 million, maybe right under.
I think it's going to beat its
That's
domestic run, but I don't think it's going to beat its overall run.
No, it won't beat the overall run. It will not. Now that we're looking at these numbers, it does.
Then, in terms of attendance, it actually won't beat. It won't beat the domestic run either. It will beat the number-wise. It will beat it, but that's because of inflation and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, that's another thing too.
This
price
signifies
hikes.
it.
But if you were to look at actual attendance and number of tickets sold, then to me it sounds like it's not going to beat it.
BVS did 330 domestically. Domestically speaking, they did 330. So it's 30 million away from beating that number, and that was 6 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, but like Andre pointed out, the inflation is bad. I paid $25 for my ticket.
My God.
And I live in the Midwest, where usually the inflation of a movie ticket it's usually one of the cheaper places in America to see a movie. And yeah, that's expensive.
You need the classic cinemas by you is what you need. That's the brand of theaters we go to, and we only paid $8 for our tickets.
I mean, if I went to the regular standard one, it might have been cheaper, but even then, I still, it was, the fact that it was $25 was just crazy.
Whew, that's psychotic.
Pilgrim Media says, Minute's Edge, who's the top editor in Hollywood? Boy, nobody really sticks out to me right now.
Robert Meyer Burnett.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best out there, that's for sure. Well, if Tom Rothman has anything to say about it, he is.
Well, actually, Harvey might challenge that and say that he is.
Or you mean Kevin Feige?
No, I mean Harvey, as in the guy whose surname begins with wine.
Oh, well, he's not around in Hollywood today, though.
No, he isn't. But I'm sure that he would say, no, I was a better editor than Rothman because I cut many more movies than he did.
No, he actually would self-insert himself into the damn. 90% of the movies that got butchered by him, by the studio, were him.
Yeah. No, actually, I can't really say because here's the thing, though. It's not just a matter of the editor. The editor is important, but what is equally important is what the editor has to work with. And of course, the times when you can really tell you have a great editor is when the editor has shit to work with and is still able to cut together a halfway decent movie. But the movie's only going to be halfway decent if you had shit to work with, no matter what. And so the best editors, this is like the issue, the best of editors, they are called in to work on disasters where you need the best to try to salvage stuff. And so they have a bunch of shit movies on their resume. That's some irony there.
Sorry, you cut out for a minute there, but what I was going to say, I didn't mean to cut you off, was a lot of directors and editors work together like a pitcher and a catcher, right?
As they should.
You don't usually have too many editors who work with multiple directors and vice versa. Same thing with directors. A great example was Tarantino working with Sally Menke until she sadly passed away, right? And then, so honestly, the answer I would say would probably be God. Who's his new editor? Not his name. His name just slipped my mind. Because he's edited his last couple movies, and that's a tall order to be able to edit Tarantino. What the hell's his name? Shit. Fred Raskin. He's probably one of the better ones out there right now because he's one of the more old school guys. But yeah, that's kind of how it works. Like, that's my point. Like, Sally Menke and Tarantino worked together. Once they started working together, that was it, kind of thing. I think she maybe edited a few other projects, but not much outside of Tarantino's, other than when he wasn't working. But most directors will make 1 or 2 movies a year, so your editor is busy working with you that whole time. So it's kind of a team, kind of like with the cinematographer, the same way.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Spielberg for years it was Dean Cundey, who was also Carpenter's go-to guy.
Exactly. And since I have a slightly better connection, what I was saying is that the best of editors are often used to try to salvage movies with which have been poorly planned during shooting. And so some of the best editors will have a bunch of shit movies on their resume because they were brought in to salvage them.
And as good as TMNT is, CS, actually the version we have is technically not her edit.
Are you talking about the 07?
I'm talking about the 90 movie.
Oh, the 90s movies. Okay.
Yeah, one of her first movies she did was the Ninja Turtles movie. But the short version of this, because I've been deep diving into this for my own retrospective on the stuff that we're working on. The Steve Barron went in to try and get some money to finish the film, unbeknownst to Golden Harvest. And in the end of the day, him and Sally got fired because they went and showed the movie to a bunch of studios without them knowing it. While they were working on getting a deal done otherwise. So like they ended up getting shit canned and kicked out of the end, and they didn't like the final edit anyway, so they went and recut the movie. So I would love to see the Sally Menke edit. I wonder how different it is, but it's supposed to be darker and longer and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so even though she did technically edit CS, it's technically not her final edit, I would say. So that needs to be pointed out. But we're almost caught up on Super Chats, so we have a few member chats I want to get to here. Let's see here. We have, if I can get to the thing, we have Moldovan Allen, who's been here for 8 months at Edgelord level. Thank you so much. Says, for me, this Batman looked meh. Nothing to pull me in. No, nothing to pull me into. Plus, also, all the unwanted drama created by the lead actress put me off. So it has no view. Yeah, that was the other thing I was saying. Was like she's the only one who's really going out there making the movie look bad, really, if you think about it, because of her stupidity. But yeah.
Or from her point of view, she's the only one making it look good because she's on the right side of history.
This is what happens when you grow up with a silver spoon up your ass, kid.
or when you are in a cult, in a bubble.
That too. Spider Unlimited has also been a member for 6 months, or actually 12 months. I don't know why it says 6 months. Oh, maybe because you switched your level. That could be it. At the Viking level, you've been for 12 months, it says here. Been too long. Wishing you all the best and continued support. Well, thank you, Spider Unlimited. Yeah, it has been a while since we've seen you in the chat. Good to see you. Let's see here. Then we have Adria Ajorna as Martine Bancraft, a scientist and Morbius's fiance. This is not. Oh, this is something totally different. Never mind. This is something you sent me here. Okay.
Yeah, it's just something.
Somebody's name at first. Oh, shit, never mind. I got it. Okay.
It's something just to take note of, because when I caught wind of that from Wiki, I'm like, ooh, this is something the guys should know.
Okay. All right. And then Rob Altus says Batman was probably more woke before resorts and reactions. I think
No, before reshoots and reactions. No, I don't think so. I think it was probably this movie the whole time. Remember when it was filmed, they had already gotten the feedback from other overtly woke movies that just bombed tremendously. So they knew that. So I don't think that they ever did any reshoots or anything like that. They were going insidious the whole time.
Yeah, I think this was the intent to begin with. I truly, if maybe they wanted to do it even more, because let's not forget there was that break where they took from filming when the shutdowns happened. So they probably saw everything that was going on, and all the people who were hopping on certain bandwagons. Like, oh, we got to make sure that these types of ideas, messages, whatever, are out there and prominent. And I truly believe that line, like that Catwoman said, I truly believe that was after the movie shut. Because didn't they say it was like 15% filmed before the shutdowns happened? It was hardly anything.
If anything, they added more because I was going to say that between the shutdowns and all the stuff that was going on, clearly that stuff influenced this film.
Yep.
Bingo. That's
Oh, poor Bats.
But anyhow, besides that though, Pattinson kept giving everybody COVID, so
well, he is a bat, so you're not to have more than you realize.
I didn't want to say it directly out, but yeah. But then we also have Christopher, who is now a member. Thank you so much for being a member, sir. Then we got one from Dash Attack here. If you can read this, since Sadie doesn't want to be quiet, Andre.
Yeah, absolutely. Dash Attack says, this idea that horny virgins are all murders in waiting is so bizarre. That means most young men today could be Riddler or the guy from The Boys. Well, that's kind of what they're saying, isn't it?
Well, look how
I'm not
quick the
saying it's
media was
fair.
trying to attach the whole thing with the Dark Knight to that kid, and then tried to turn that around on the Joker a couple of years back.
Yeah, absolutely. So find a victim and push hard. Also, we missed a super chat in betweener that we didn't get up on screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
STR Red Wolf said for $2, coffee for Tom. Stat.
I don't know how I missed that one. I think that was just as I was coming in. You must.
Yeah, you needed the coffee.
I don't drink coffee, but I'll try.
Yeah, that's a problem right there.
It makes me feel like shit. Action Com says, I noticed with Reacher that they went back to the 90s era swipes instead of the upfront wokeism. No more conversations because they fail. And if you call it out, you're a kook who can't just have fun. Well, also weren't a lot of those books written in that era as well? So that probably helps that they can use that as a crutch. They just say, well, we're just adapting the books. That's why. Why would we interject shit that ain't there?
They were actually reading the source material of
That's
like Halo.
implying, yes.
Unprecedented. Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. How could that happen? Just follow the source material. That's proven successful in another medium, and it worked here too.
It's like they set up the blueprint for you, and you had the legwork done for you. The heavy lifting's done. You just got now translate it into screen. It's like trying to take a storyboard, translate it out there. So the idea of changing it's so needless. Like, obviously nothing's be 100% absolute, but it shows you the more faithful adaptations like do well or closer to faithfulness, the more you realize when people like talk about how they need to have changes, it really invalidates their argument as time goes on.
Actually, that's a pretty good segue into one of our other stories. As you know, kids, for those who actually saw the alert, we dropped a video this morning because my good friend George Molo brought something to my attention that totally, because I was busy, totally got away from me, and something that I had talked about with our good buddy Gary over at Nerdrotic a few weeks back. And that was what the Saul Zaentz company putting their rights up for sale when it comes to Lord of the Rings meant for the franchise, and what the MGM sale could signify with the rights to The Hobbit. And we dropped a video this morning, isn't that right, Andre? That really
we
broke this down.
We didn't say so much about the MGM thing, but it is kind of related because it has to do with The Hobbit. So Amazon acquired MGM, in which case, and that gave them the entirety of the MGM library, including The Hobbit, also the Pink Panther, which really bums me out.
Oh,
yeah. Actually, there's a piece of the rights that were sitting over at MGM, but that piece of the puzzle was completed.
Yeah, it was completed. So Amazon now has the MGM portion of the rights, and since
they also have more than that, though, don't they?
Yeah,
Andre?
exactly. Because since we have heard that they also bought the Hobbit section of the Saul Zaentz company, who were the ones that owned the entertainment rights, and with that, they own pretty much everything Hobbit, apart from the original book.
I like what Monkey Jesus says. Saul Zaentz sold Hobbits to Amazon. That's Hobbit trafficking. You're not wrong. But the big question that that was brought up by the video, and I'm sure is on everybody's mind, well, what about Lord of the Rings? Well, as we posited in a video we did a couple weeks ago, the Lord of the Rings rights may not be as cut and dry as Saul Zaentz company wanted to believe.
Yeah, or as they wanted to opine, because what they said when they announced that they were selling the rights, in their opinion, Warner's rights had lapsed, so it was fine for them to sell them because it was their opinion that they had the rights back again. Yeah. It's very nice of them to have an opinion about that, but for those things, it's a letter of the law that matters, that trumps your opinion any day.
Yeah, and to steal a quote from Shapiro, facts don't give a shit about your feelings.
Yeah.
And in this case, the facts were there that Warner Brothers had got that movie into production within the window that constituted that they had extended their rights a little bit more. So in that case, the Lord of the Rings rights are still somewhat safe for now, but unfortunately, we have a situation that that Andre and I know all too well about, and that is when a franchise has a divorce.
Yes, we've seen it with Star Trek. We've seen it. Where else have we seen it? Too many. Well, we've seen it in Conan. That's what happened with Conan
He-Man
and
with
Red
She-Ra.
Sonja, which right now, yeah, and He-Man and She-Ra, where you have something that started out together, but then it gets split up
To a lesser
on the
extent,
entertainment side of things.
the Dungeons and Dragons, the fact that that no company wants to shell out the rights for the characters that were in the animated show to do with that. That's another separation of sorts. There's a few out there. The whole Paramount one caused quite a few, but all those have mostly been patched up. But yeah, this is not something that's good for the franchise overall, because this also indicates that Amazon could do pretty much whatever the fuck they want with The Hobbit now,
Yeah, pretty much.
and the characters that are involved with it.
Pretty much. Not saying that's a good thing, but that's how it is.
Now, what you did put in the video that was a good point, Andre, is we don't necessarily know if they can do anything with The Hobbit in the Rings of Power series.
No, because that's already something
Yes.
that's a licensed product already. But they can make a spin-off. They can make their own thing. Yeah.
They can set this show up to set up The Hobbit, and they can, bring their actors over from this show into The Hobbit. So yeah, this is what we were warning you kids about. Like, this is exactly what I was trying to say is the moment these dominoes start to fall, Amazon is they're just going to have to sit. They're basically just got to wait out Warner Brothers at this point before they own the whole kit and caboodle.
Wow, what a lose-lose situation. Warner Bros. Doesn't know what to do. Amazon knows what they want to do in the worst way possible.
Warner is giving us that animated movie. I mean,
yeah, that's true. No, we did talk about that.
And Peter Jackson is, I don't know how involved he is in it, but I do know it is in his franchise, and I'm sure he's at least an executive producer, if not consultant on the project, or even more deeply involved. I don't know. But we just recently got info on that, because it was announced back in 2019, but they just released that the photo and the title right after the Rings of Power trailer dropped to be like, yeah, about that whole thing. We've got our own.
We've got our own Lord of the Rings.
And ours was the one that you remember and love, kids.
I feel bad for like an upcoming generation that's like going to discover Lord of the Rings and know the likeliness that they've not watched like the Peter Jackson trilogy, because they're going to judge the Lord of the Rings based off of this thing, and they're basically they're going to be introduced to a misleading product of what was something else. Like, just like they're being introduced to Star Wars, Star Trek, all the other things, they're given these false ideas of what these things are historically supposed to be. And they're being taught that, oh, yes, canon doesn't matter. You could just do whatever you want with franchise, where we come from the idea of respecting lore, respecting continuity, making things matter, and having stakes. Now they're just saying anyone could be anyone, anything could do anything. And it doesn't matter if it contradicts something that happened a mere 5 minutes before. So I feel bad for the upcoming generation. And on top of that, most of the things they don't have to call their own. They had to take all the sloppy seconds from, our generation and generations before us. So that's got to be a really unfortunate position. They don't have a thing like, this is from my generation. They don't know what that feeling is like. We do, and it's cool. We all of us guys here on the panel and the chat, we've had
you're right, actually,
awesome things to see.
Because even like Hunger Games and Harry Potter is pretty much the previous generations at this point.
Oh, absolutely is.
We've gotten to that point. You're not wrong there. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to. Well, I don't know how interesting it'll be. It's going to be sad to see what Amazon does with this. I have very little hope. Now, as far as the actual Hobbit movies, the ownership they have in those is just whatever tangential connection MGM had, which I think was some of the foreign distribution rights or somewhere. I'd have to go back and look what they worked out with that deal, because Warner owns most of the rights to those films. But they had to work out a deal with MGM to release them, because if you kids will remember, if you watch The Hobbit, it has an MGM logo along with the New Line logo at the beginning. There's a reason for that, because MGM had this is the rights have been kind of split up for years anyway. So this is actually nothing new. But prior to this, United Artists and MGM had most of the rights, and that's where we got the animated features from back in the 70s. But that's, decades ago. So here we are right back again in the same place we were post that era, where The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were technically under two different roofs. And it's back to that again, only it's almost permanent now at this point until Amazon basically finishes its collection.
Only a matter of time.
The best thing we could hope for is like maybe Apple or somebody will come in and try and get the rights to Lord of the Rings. But
what's Apple's reputation like, though?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel safe with Amazon having all of it.
No, I agree. I do agree with you in that regard. Amazon having too much power is bad, regardless of intent.
Here's the thing, though. Judging from Foundation, I don't think that the fans of that feel too safe with Apple either.
True. Well, who produced it though? Was it Apple or a different company that produced it for Apple?
Like Secret Hideout Friends.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like this news. This is bad news. This is big news. This is something that's gonna. I don't think they're gonna sit on this for very long. They're definitely gonna get. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't announce a Hobbit series, like you were kind of positing, Andre.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're going to wait a little bit. I wouldn't expect anything anytime soon. And remember, because right now they're gearing up the Rings of Power. That's going to be their focus. So I wouldn't expect anything anytime soon. But they might start alluding to it with time. They have time. They have plenty of time. And now they're just getting more content. We're prepping more content to go with it.
Because what sucks really is they pretty much have the rights to almost all the main characters, because they're in The Hobbit for the most part, outside of the dwarves and Aragorn and a few other characters. They're, Bilbo and Frodo and the younger hobbits. But I mean, you got Bilbo, you got Gandalf, you've got, Elrond, you got Galadriel, you got all these characters that are in there already. So that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have two different worlds of Lord of the Rings if things work out that way. But it's going to be a few years, because I believe, depending on how long the extension goes for, how many years was it since The Hobbit? Hobbit came out?
It was around 2012, wasn't it? So
it's 10 years. So we got 10 years to find
Decade.
out, kids, basically, after Rings of Rohan, or the War of Rohan comes out.
Yeah.
So at least there's going to be a separation for at least that long.
Yeah.
Because I highly doubt Warner Brothers and Amazon are going to work anything out together.
Nope. I would not bet on it.
That'd be too much to ask for.
Yeah, exactly. These companies, I mean, they couldn't even work together on Hannibal Lecter. That's another one where the rights are split.
Mm. Yep. Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one we forgot. Good.
Yeah.
Good pull there. But yeah, kids. So check out that video if you haven't already. Trav 101 says Dallas Sonier of Daily Wire the Daily Wire producer said streaming is the future and the theater will only be a place for films like the MCU. Do you agree or not? I agree to a point, Trav. I don't think you're wrong. I think that you'll start to see the studios start to shift what movies they put on their streaming services or sell to a streaming service, as opposed to what they put in theaters, like movies they probably like mid-tier movies, which don't really exist anymore, it seems like. Will probably go more to streaming than they will to theaters now, as opposed to what they used to. But yeah, I don't see that being a complete... I don't see that being that way all the time, though. I mean, there's still going to be movies that are going to be in theaters in the future. Like the theaters, I told people, like, they can't afford to not have the theaters. It's such a big part of the money they make back that until streaming becomes that profitable, it's just not doable. And they tried to force it over the pandemic. And if there was a time where it was possible, it was then, and they couldn't pull it off. So.
Look at Black Widow. Look at even Dune and Godzilla versus Kong. Those movies were all affected by the day and date release. I get the idea. The idea made sense, and that was the proving grounds to see if it worked in the middle of a situation where people are literally, like, mostly stuck at their own homes, getting whatever money is coming their way, however they were. they had the opportunity to prove that method. And I think, and once again, also No Way Home showed people still want to actually go out and see those movies. And even though I can't stand the Batman, people are going out to theaters again. So I think it's safe to say, whether we like or dislike certain movies that come out, money's still being put in terms of people seeing those movies. And even when I saw the Batman on the Saturday night, a lot of youngsters were seeing it. So even youngsters still want to go to the movie theaters in the age of streaming. So not all Zers just want to stay at home. I've seen it myself.
Well, Woke Hogan, I missed this one before. Sorry about that. Says DC Sims are still arguing the Batman is anti-woke. See, that's the part that bothers me. It's like, just, you can like it, but just own the fact that it's woke.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, is it overly woke? Yeah, but to me, it's worse because it's like subtle.
I prefer, with stuff like that, I always prefer it to be way over the top and overt rather than hidden and insidious.
Yeah,
exactly. Because then you have these problems. But speaking of Godzilla versus Kong, we finally have an answer on what's going on with Godzilla. It appears that Legendary is moving forward on a sequel to Godzilla versus Kong, and it begins later this year in Australia, according to Variety. This is our final story of the day. It is expected to film at Gold Coast and other locations in Queensland. Godzilla vs. Kong filmed in the Gold Coast in 2019. The current untitled sequel will receive a 16 million tax credit, I believe it's trying to say here, from Australia. So there you go. That'll help to get that rolling. There's nothing really else other than that. Basically, what this tells me is that they worked out whatever they had to do with Toho to get Godzilla in order, because, as you know, the deal was up. But after the performance of Godzilla vs. Kong, as you pointed out, Nick, which did perform strongly, in the midst of all this business, so I'm not surprised by this at all. Are you guys?
What's it gonna be called? Godzilla and Kong? Like, they just made up, like, as friends. Like, do they got to get set up?
Well, maybe like they'll have another force they got to fight against together. You probably got a point there, but no, I think between this and then also the recent move that series is going to Apple was kind of an idea that we do. Legendary was working on this, but the big question was whether we were still working with Warner Brothers or not. But here's our answer: they are at least going to be doing a Kong sequel, because for a while it looked like Warner Brothers was going to go off and do their own Kong verse, didn't it, Andre?
It did look like that.
Speaking of splitting up franchises,
yeah, exactly. Splitting up things left and right. But here's something then that's going to carry on with what was already established. So brilliant. But Tom, what's going on with this Godzilla series? Is that still a thing? That's gonna
be on Apple, yeah.
Off then, yeah. So, actually, there you have the answer to how good Apple is going to be. The showrunner for the Godzilla series. That tells you everything you need to know about Apple. Tom, before you say anything, why don't you just play the video of who is the showrunner of Apple's Godzilla series, so people can have a meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see the comments. The person that you are about to see is the showrunner for Apple's Godzilla.
Isn't there significant other working on it as well?
That makes it even worse.
That's what I say. So it's a double whammy, kids.
Double whammy. It's this person and this person's husband.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
No, please don't tell me Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Kelly Sue DeConnick and Matt Fraction are the showrunners of Apple's Godzilla.
Oh my god.
That's what pissed me off. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I can't believe we haven't done a video on this. So there's our next video.
Yeah. Well, Six sent me this late last night or early this morning, however you want to look at it. But yeah, this was the only other story besides Christopher Lloyd and the Hobbit story that's going on right now, besides Batman. So this is an interesting turn of events. We'll see here. But yeah, the Kelly Sue DeConnick thing, that just turned me off with Godzilla. It's like, what in the world, other than looking like Godzilla, maybe? Or that she has Godzilla breath, perhaps? I don't know. Wow.
Let me just say that Matt Fraction, he's a shit writer.
That too.
A few years ago, his Hawkeye run was considered like a big deal. I tried giving it a shot. I mean, he's a more competent writer than Kelly Sue DeConnick, but that's just like the whole, no matter how much you try to polish a turd, it's still shit. Like, he's not much better. He just at least understands some characters sound different, whereas everyone is Kelly Sue DeConnick in her books. So that's how much better he is than her, and that's not by much. How does someone like Kelly fail so much, and yet it's like, hey, if you fail here, you can move on and damage this product. Okay, oh, you did good. You failed this. Okay, we need you to go destroy this one next. Oh, this stuff is exhausting.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Yeah, I lost all hope for that series once I heard that.
Yeah, what's hope got to do with it in that case? When you have
Pretty
those
much.
showrunners, there's no reason to be optimistic. There's no reason. I'm always about, like, you should give it a chance, but there are limits, aren't there? There are limits.
I'll tell you what, though, the chances of Godzilla and Kong fucking just went up astronomically.
Oh yes, dude. That's just the first night out together. They're gonna get all the other dinosaurs and monsters involved, and they're gonna talk about their pronouns.
Monster orgies.
Yeah, they're gonna have a big old orgy. They're gonna say, hey, don't trigger my microaggression. I might hurt a building. Like, seriously.
There's going to be some subplot about, like, which gender Godzilla identifies as.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kong can't quit him.
And then Kong is to be saying, don't call me fat phobe. You're a fat phobe for saying I'm overweight because I'm a big gorilla. I can already see it, man. All the isophobisms are
because Godzilla got a lot of flack for being fat. Yeah. Godzilla's probably a little sensitive about that.
We've already written the story out for these people. Yeah. We're probably already giving them more ideas.
Like, oh, we should have a love scene between Kong and Godzilla, so they solidify their bromance.
But then if they add Mecha Godzilla, they can have it be the pansexual.
Well, they finally find out Mecha's name. It's Bob. Battery operated boyfriend. Anyway, Mega Wing Zero says with $10, I still say BBS would have made $1 billion if they had left it alone. If this Batman doesn't make more BBS, can the studio come use it as an excuse to change DC back to Snyder? No, because they'll use the pandemic as an excuse.
There's no reason at all to make any kind of excuse. It's just a shift of direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And for what it's worth, I agree. I also think that if they had released the director's cut rather than the incomprehensible studio cut, it may have made $1 billion. I'm inclined to agree with that.
I'll push back a little bit. I still don't see where that director's cut is any better than the original, because much like anything Star Wars, it all leads to the same fucking place.
Mm-hmm. It does lead to the same fucking place, but it's a matter of the kind of narrative and storytelling that you get on the way there. Yeah, it leads to the same place. Nothing is different in that sense, with the key difference being that you understand what's going on and you don't feel that this is a dream sequence that you missed out on half the movie. Well, so you get for a more enjoyable narrative, although it does end at the same place.
I never misunderstood the movie, maybe because I just kind of paused it or kind of just my headcanon put things in there, because I kind of came to the same
but that's you. But you see it from an editor's point of view, whereas for everyone else, like, you know what to posit and put in there. For everyone else, or for many others, that's not instantly obvious. It's just gaps and missing things.
I mean, I will admit that, yes, it's a better cut. Don't get me wrong. It does give a little, but I just don't see this huge.
It was fundamentally the wrong script to begin with.
That's my point. That's the problem I have with it.
Issue. Yeah. I'm not.
It still doesn't change what movie it is overall.
No, that it doesn't.
There's a bigger difference. Like, even though I'm one of those people that argue that the Snyder Cut version of the Justice League isn't all that different. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It still leads to a lot of the same storylines. There's still a lot of the same shots and issues with it, but it's a better film overall, and it ends better. That's true. But I don't see that astronomical difference between the BBS cut.
Yeah, but I actually do. I mean, to me, they're a night and day difference.
And you like those kind of cuts more, though. See, that's the thing.
Yeah,
to me, I see it as an unsalvageable film. That's probably why.
Yeah. And of course, I'm the first to admit that too has like a script that should never have been greenlit for one movie, never ever. First to admit that. But still, given that that was the script that they were going with, I still say that the director's cut of BVS and the Snyder cut makes for a thoroughly much more enjoyable movie-going experience than did the theatrical versions of those movies.
What about you, Nick? Did you enjoy the director's cut of BVS more?
No, actually, it made it more depressing because I felt like the movie should have been trimmed down a half hour. And I'm already like I already cannot stand by default the Zack Snyder stuff because.
And I agree, and I see that perfectly. The issue with the script is that it's written in such an unbelievably convoluted way that they needed to remove subplots from the script. That's where they needed to streamline. But given that they didn't do that,
they needed like 3 movies exactly.
Exactly. Given that they didn't do that, instead of like writing a script for one movie, they wrote a script for a full season of events, and they packed it into a 3-hour movie. That was the issue.
I still probably wouldn't have liked it
anymore. Given that was done, there's not really much you can do with like cutting more because it's just so dense in all the footage.
Well, from an editor's standpoint, I'd be like this if I'd sit Zach down real quick and go, look, you've got all this stuff you're trying to do, and you could really simplify it. Batman and Superman don't see eye to eye because of the way they fight crime in general. And then you add Lex Luthor to the mix. That's all you need for a recipe for those two to fight. You don't need all this convoluted shit.
No, they don't. They're trying to sound smart about it, and look at how smart and philosophical.
Yeah, that was the big issue. They tried to show how
you're not smart.
No, because Lex Luthor's speech should have been said to Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne should have took that and then realized at the end that he was taking the wrong advice on Superman, right? Like that to me was the whole thing, but I don't want to get into a whole debate about it. But yeah, it's just basically you streamline that storyline, get rid of the death of Superman, put that into another movie, put that in Superman 2 or 3.
You know? I agree completely with you, S.
Yeah, so I don't want to get too far into that because we could be here all day talking.
Anytime Zack Snyder's name gets brought up, like it's like that could derail any conversation.
I think Nick cut out there.
Did I?
Yeah, you did a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was saying that anytime Zack Snyder gets brought up in any conversation, all other conversations are off the rails once he's brought up.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's a problem. He's a very polarizing character. Let's
get back to the super chat.
Grimzilla
we
says,
have a couple more.
We're coming to Godzilla. This is awesome. Look at that icon. That is freaking sweet. Hopefully, we'll get more legacy kaiju in MonsterVerse, and the groundwork is already there for Space Godzilla and Destroya for future villains. Yeah, right there's both of those villains are two villains that I can see Kong and Godzilla teaming up, especially just Destroya. I can't ever say it right. It's Destoroya. I know I can't do it without making it sound like I'm racist. So, yes, that would be fun. I agree. Do you guys disagree? Agree? Nothing to add there. I know Andre's not that big of a Godzilla guy, so
I like it. I'm not like diehard, but like I enjoy watching the movies. I think they're fun. Like they're cool to watch, and I enjoy killing time. And I think that's kind of the intent. Now, if you're into it by any more, whether it's via owning the statues or being a mega kaiju fan, obviously more power to you. You have a franchise IP that you're attached to, and they're cool looking creatures. But for me, it's turn off your brain, enjoy the moment, and then
that's why I like the last one. They finally got that. They're just like,
yes, they
get rid of all this other extra bullshit. Just get to the monsters fighting. That's what we want.
We don't care about the humans.
If you're going to add a human. And if you're going to add a human, do one like that little girl so you actually give a shit. Because then you're rooting for Kong because you're like, that girl wants Kong to win.
Yeah.
You win for that little girl, Kong. God damn it. But on that note, Primer says with $2 here, thank you, says in related news, Mega Man series run by Gail Simone. Is this true?
Oh, no. You've never seen, I didn't hear anything. I'll tell you what, though. I don't know how well you remember the movie I Love You, Man, but there's a scene where Jason Segel gets hit by a golf ball. And then he yells, "This is my nightmare." That's what I see when I see that super chat.
Yeah. You know what? When I see this super chat here, Mega Man series run by Gail Simone. You know what I'm thinking then? Thank God I grew up with the Sega Mega Drive and not the Nintendo, because I would be heartbroken right now.
Nothing comes up on a quick Google.
And
search.
yes, I know Mega Man is on the is
Sega
on
Mega
the
Drive.
Sega Mega Drive as well. Actually, one of the better games is there.
I was gonna say, you should know
I've
Mega
never
Man.
played it.
Oh, you haven't really? Oh.
No, I haven't. I know it's like a supercut of Mega Man's 1 to 3 on the
It's a
NES.
very popular game here.
Yeah, but no, I never got it. So yeah.
If this is news, if this is true, this is the okay. He's joking. I was going to
He's
say,
joking.
good God,
Okay.
Lord. I was going to say you're going to piss a lot of people off if that's true. Oh Lord.
The sad part isn't it sad that we all believe that that's how bad.
That's how bad things have gotten. Yes,
we
Nick.
actually believe it. Like
When
it's like it's the pop culture version of the Babylon.
When you got
Bee.
Kelly Sue DeConnick making Godzilla, yes, things have gotten that.
I'd believe her taking on Mega Man before I'd believe Kelly Sue DeConnick being the showrunner on Godzilla.
I know, right?
Yet that is what is real.
They're going to turn this into a. Oh, anyway. On that note, Mecca J says, DeConnick, if you don't like my politics, don't watch my show. You know what? I don't think a lot of people are going to watch it anyway, considering it's on Apple, and most people don't have Apple, but we'll see how that rolls. And then I don't think we have any more after this, so I think this is going to be our last super chat of the day. Trav 101 fires one in here and says, what incentive does Hollywood have to change with movies like woke Batman making money? So when does the Fellowship create its own entertainment industry? Well, we're kind of seeing it already in a lot of ways. Stay tuned, kids. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff on the way. I know George Molo's working on some stuff in the background. I think he already announced. Robert Meyer Burnett is already working on stuff. There's plenty of other people who have been putting projects together and lots of talks. I mean, there's a couple of things that I've tried getting off the ground that have hit a few roadblocks, but we'll see as time goes on. But unfortunately, unlike doing a comic book and stuff like that, or a book, it takes a lot more time to make a movie or a TV show or a short film or anything like that. So, and it takes a lot of resources. So it's going to just take time.
The time and also the biggest part is the frequency, because like in order to compete we gotta have the frequency, because that's the one thing like all the big major institutions had to advantage. They can keep the products rolling out so frequently, so even if you get an alternative, it's gonna be a while that you get the next alternative from whatever it is you just invested in. I think that's the best way to really compete. And I think Daily Wire, which I sadly still have not watched their newest movie yet, but I think they're starting to get the idea, like we need to roll things out frequently. So hopefully that'll still lead to quality without rushing. But we definitely got to keep it frequently, because that's the thing. They know how to keep people's attention spans. Like, hey, look, you just enjoyed this product. Now get ready for this one. Whereas we're waiting in spades and gaps, like whether it's the comic books or with like shows, movies, whatever. We definitely need the frequency on our side. I feel like that's going to be the truest threat, because then they're going to see, oh, okay, we got to pay attention to these guys, because they're starting to put stuff out more frequently. We want to keep the attention span, especially in the day and age where attention spans are very, very competitive and also are absolutely ADD driven. And I'm no exception to the rule. I'll admit it myself. So I think that's the best way. And also not just being an alternative, but a good one at that.
All right. Andre, anything to add to that?
I think that was a really good summary. I don't have much to add to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And like I said, I kind of said my part ahead of time. So yeah, thank you for that, Trav 101. And then just before we check in with the koalas, I just want to say thank you to Rico Zero for Milestone. Been here for 4 months. Thank you for that. And then Chris Topher just became a Midnighter. So thank you so much for being parts of the crew, guys. We appreciate it. You guys helped keep the lights on here. Thank you so much. And with that, I think we're going to wrap things up. Check out Nick Weiser over at 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. I try to join him every Tuesday night for Toxic Tuesday. Yeah, so anything coming up we should talk about? Because I know we're talking about one of Andre's favorite movies this week, actually. Did you want to say what that is, or do you want me to?
For me. Okay, I wasn't sure if you're referring to me or Andre. Sorry.
No, but the movie we're doing on Toxic Tuesday is
tomorrow night we are talking Spaceballs on Toxic Tuesday.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that is going to be a blast to talk about. So that's Toxic Tuesdays. If there's a comic book fans in the chat, me, Clobberentine's, a few others, will be talking down and dissecting the original ASM number 13 through 16, which were debuts of villains like Mysterio, Green Goblin, and Kraven from the original Stanley and Steve Ditko run. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. And we'll also be keeping track of what's going on with that Moon Knight show, because once again, I come from the comic angle, I want to be able to point out to people the, similarities and also the stuff that contrasts from the source material. So keep your eyes and ears open for all of that, comics and movies. And
Awesome.
and Tom, thank you for letting me come on here and join you and Andre. It was a pleasure, and I hope we cross paths again soon.
You
Yeah,
went
absolutely.
over my helmet?
Oh shit, there goes the planet.
Oh shit, there goes the planet. Oh yes, can't wait for that. Love Spaceballs. And yeah, check out Culture Casino as well. And hopefully within the next 24 hours, you will get to see the epic Masters of the Universe Part 4 of our documentary. So check out the first 3 if you haven't. And I know a lot of people haven't seen the first 2 parts, kids. So go check them out. For some reason, people ignored those first 2 parts.
Well, but part 3 did really, really well.
I think part
Incredibly.
3 spawned about a dozen YouTube video responses I've seen now. They don't specifically say us, but they're really trying to push against that narrative that
Yeah, because we say the truth that everyone else has been pussyfooting around.
exactly.
That's why you guys are the hero of this city.
Love She-Ra all you want, but it wasn't her fault per se. It was the execution on
Yeah,
Mattel's part.
it was the ladies of Mattel's Barbie division. It was them.
They didn't never want to be beaten again.
Yeah.
Then
no.
Dr. Long Dongler sends in his milestone for 5 months as a Midnighter. Thank you so much, Dr. Long Dongler. But you were saying, Andre, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that yeah, it really was. It was the ladies of Mattel's Barbie division. They destroyed He-Man.
Indeed. It's all the girls' fault.
Yeah,
Stinky
but
girls.
we have a member chat. Mads says.
Did we miss one more?
Max was wrong. Yeah, one more evidently. Oh no, we got it.
Okay, I was gonna say I think it's the one that just came in. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All right.
This stream, like all others, will be on Midnight's Edge live archives, because we can't keep every single live stream we do up on the main channel because of the excessive cluttering. So that's why we have Midnight's Edge live archives. There you will find a copy of every single live stream that we do here. Sometimes we're a little bit slow on the uptake, so it can take a few days before they arrive, but they're all going to arrive on Midnight's Edge Dark archives before long. So yeah, do check that out.
Indeed, and thanks to all the mods, of course, for your tireless work and helping us keep up to date with everything in the chat. We appreciate that, and you guys out there for watching. If it wasn't for you, we'd be talking to ourselves, and that's no fun. And thanks for the support. Hit that like button on your way out the door, and don't forget to tip your waitress. And now it's time for Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain. Koalas
Don't forget Toxic Femininity later.
no fucks given.